What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward as we have more updates coming out. Not to mention why tomorrow is going to be another mad day as the market has so much data coming out. And we also have lots of option expirations. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below or sign up to my QR code that's right over here. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're guaranteed $20 of Nvda stock. Deposits $2,000 to get $50 worth. Deposit $10,000 to get $300 worth of Nvda. And deposit $50,000 to get $1,000 of free Nvda stock. You're also going to qualify for an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, which includes a 4.1% APY base rate plus a 4% extra APY for 3 months. The offer ends very soon, so check out my links down below to get free Nvidia stock. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with this market. So as far as Tesla's going, we saw Tesla trying to push to 347 and we got this rejection. We came back down to 333, then bounced. Then we had 347 again, and I did warn you guys that we keep rejecting near 347, so I was expecting a test of 335, if not 330 in my video from yesterday. That's exactly where Tesla fell to so far. Tesla's trying to bounce a bit, so it might try to get back up here, but I do see some chop that's likely coming. And if we can't hold above 335, there's going to be a risk of us continuing to fall, and there could be some downside risk on Tesla stock if this continues. So I just want to give you guys a warning about that, given what we're seeing so far. So there is some good news and bad news. The bad news to start things off is that Guggenheim on Tuesday has maintained their sell rating on Tesla, and they have a $175 price target, at least thus far. They believe that they weren't really too impressed with Tesla's robotaxi, and they believe that at the same time, they're not happy about Tesla's sales due to some geopolitical factors and factors like that. So they believe that there is a risk of downside for Tesla as a result after earnings and after we saw, the launch in Austin, Texas. Despite that, Deutsche Bank, sorry about this, let me close this ad real quick. Sorry about that. Deutsche Bank has boosted their Tesla stake by 20.8% to over $2.6 billion. So they're very, very heavily invested into Tesla, owning over 10 million shares. They're also anticipating a lot of growth that's going to be coming, and they believe that it's going to be worth it for the long term. That's some great news for Tesla. So there are banks that are buying up Tesla as we dip, but at the same time, other analysts have some negative ratings, and that's, despite some of the growth that's come. I want to make that very, very clear. Now, why is tomorrow going to be a very interesting day? Well, let's start off with today. What's very interesting is we got some bad data, and when this data came out, it did cause Tesla to dip a bit alongside the markets. The market bounced, however, Tesla tried to bounce only to fail, so that just goes to show Tesla showing some weakness compared to SPY and the others. But what is the bad data? We got the PPI data report. PPI month over month was at 0.9%. We were expecting 0.2 to basically 0.2% for all items PPI. For core PPI, it was at 0.9%. We were expecting 0.1 to 0.2%. We got 0.9. So that's a big increase in PPI month over month and core PPI month over month. For core PPI year over year, we got 3.7%. That's well above expectations. We expected 2.7 to 2.9%. We got 3.7% instead. And for all items PPI year over year, we got 3.3%. That's well above expectations of 2.5%. Once again, that's another sign that inflation is still sticky, and we're seeing another increase so far. So why is wholesale inflation going up? There's many reasons. One of the factors is going to be seasonality, right? Typically, when it comes to seasonality, we see the market essentially see an increase in inflation during the summer. However, at the same time, it's also worth mentioning that producer prices could be going up due to President Trump's tariffs and the threats of tariffs that came. So some tariffs were imposed in July, and there were a lot of threats of higher tariffs coming. So a lot of supply chains kind of got disrupted, and we did see a lot of wholesale prices go up. Now, historically, there are lots of times when wholesale inflation leads CPI. So because we're seeing a big increase in wholesale inflation, this could be a sign that CPI is going to see another increase as well. If core CPI continues the trend it's on, there could be a big increase going into next month. And then for all items CPI, this could also go up as a result of this hot PPI. That could happen, but it's not 100% guaranteed. We're just going to have to see how things end up going. When it comes to President Trump, there's been a lot of talk about his tariffs. We're going to see what happens, though, because he is saying that he wants to see negotiations continue with China and that he's going to be more stern on Russia. He's been repeating the same things. He also repeated that he does not fear higher inflation. He's saying the economy is very strong and the Fed needs to cut as soon as possible. But I think that if we get hot inflation, that could complicate the notion that the Fed has to cut in September. Most likely they will, but we'll see just to be safe, because if we start to see inflation skyrockets, that could cause things to sort of change. On top of this, with the Chinese negotiations going on, this is also going to be affecting semiconductors, so keep that in mind. This is their earnings calendar. It's quite minor, nothing too significant. And then keep in mind that when it comes to the fear and greed index right now, greed is making up the majority of sentiments. Momentum's at greed, and then we have our other indicators at greed, like the put to call option ratio, and the VIX is also at neutral. When it comes to SPY, basically we have a little bit under 800,000 calls expiring, and we have over 3.2 million of these puts expiring. We have 4.09 being the put to call option ratio, and 625 is our max pain, so keep that in mind, at least for the market. So lots of put expirations. As far as Tesla goes, let's actually look at this. What you'll see is that Tesla's going back and forth between supply and demand, back and forth and back and forth. Now, we might try to bounce tomorrow for basically 340, and we need to get back above 340 to push to 347. If we hold above 340, we could try to get back into this chop zone in the mid 340s. That's like a little bit more of the bullish case. The bearish case is going to be that we fail to hold above 335. If that's the case, we could be dipping towards 327 then 325. So please keep that in mind in case we get some kind of rejection. My guts tells me this might push for essentially 340 and then kind of like consolidate like this. And then once we're finished with consolidation, we could be dipping back down to the low 330s. So please keep that in mind, especially as time goes on, as Tesla has some downside risk. Tesla keeps rejecting near the 340s, so this might consolidate and eventually come back down. So please keep that in mind, especially as time goes on. For other tickers, we have SPY, which is looking more bullish, higher highs and higher lows so far. If you're a bear on SPY in the markets, which could slow Tesla down, you need to see SPY basically fell at 642. If 642 to 640 fails us, we could be dumping to 636 or below. But as long as we're above this range, we're looking more bullish. If we break 646, we're looking more bullish. Looking at this, I want to show you guys this real quick. When we zoom in, you'll see that as far as SPY is going, we're going back and forth between 646 and 642 between supply and demand. And the odds do favor us trying to go a bit higher if we hold above 646. There are lots of shorts expiring, so we are technically favoring upside, but this depends if we can break past 646 or not. If we lose 642, we're looking for a big move down. If we break 646, we're looking bullish. My gut tells me that 646 could be tested or above, and we'll have to see how it goes. I anticipate some sideways price action like this, kind of like a push, a dip down, and even with the hot PPI, the market just dipped and then bounced, which goes to show how resilient the market is. So we're still favoring new all-time highs, and we'll see if we reject or not, but for now, we're still looking bullish. The QQQ is looking less bullish than SPY because of how tech is performing. We're seeing some sideways price action. We're going to see if we break 581 to push higher, or if we start losing 578 to dip. We could be retesting 578 or so, and then we'll see if we bounce. There might be some sideways price action. We'll see if we break up or down depending on which way we go. We need to break 582 to be bullish and lose 576 to be bearish, but as of right now, I anticipate some sideways price action. So keep that in mind. The IWM could be pushing for 230 or above, and we'll see if we reject or not, but I think there's a good chance of us pushing for 230. We might push up here, then consolidate, so keep that in mind, at least for now. For ES, we're looking bullish. As you could tell, we're essentially making higher highs and higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and higher lows. Now we need to essentially lose 64, 64 to start dipping lower. And as long as we're above that, we're actually favoring the low 6,500s, and we're going to see how it reacts to that. So there is still some upside potential as buyers continue to step in. On NQ, we're kind of flat right here. If we break 24,000, we're bullish, but if we lose 23,800, we're going to turn it back down. I anticipate there's going to be a lot of sideways price action like this, so we do favor sideways price action. We'll see if we break up or down depending on these factors, but for now, we're just trading sideways, so look for an attempt for 24,000 tomorrow and some consolidation. Bitcoin is trying to bounce. Look for an attempt for 120,000. Then we'll see if it rejects, but I do see some upside coming here. For Tesla, we're likely going to trade sideways. We have kind of like a double top forming. Might push a bit higher. Then we're going to see if Tesla rejects. Look for some sideways price action between 340 and 335, and then we'll see if Tesla turns down. There is a risk of downside if 330 fails, so keep that in mind for Tesla. For Nvda, as we hit 183, we would like to reject. As we hit 179, we like to bounce. And we're just kind of trading sideways like this, so I just anticipate some sideways price action. Aapl is slowing down here. We could be testing 228, and we'll see if we bounce or not. Netflix is looking a bit more bullish. As long as we don't lose 1213, we're actually favoring a pushback up to 1250. It is still looking bullish with this inverse head and shoulders like breakout, at least thus far, so keep that in mind. For MSTR, we're forming kind of like a double bottom here. As long as we don't lose 365, we're favoring an attempt for 380 plus. Celsius is on an uptrend. As long as we don't lose basically 55, we're favoring 58 as our target. Supermicro is trading sideways. We have resistance around 46 and support at 44. I also anticipate that we're going to just trade sideways like this. So it might be retesting 46.5, come back down, just trade sideways for now, just like that for now. Palantir is dipping here where we have a bearish divergence. We might retest 182, 182, and eventually dip to 180 to 178. So look for a small push, then a dip lower. And for now, we're just kind of trading sideways. So keep that in mind. Rivian has a nice accumulation. I might retest 12.3 when we're going to see if we break past this or not. But look for some upside for 12.3. SoFi is also trading sideways. We might be retesting essentially 23.5, and we'll see if we turn back down from there. But for now, it's just trading sideways. AMD is making higher lows, is trying to break out right here. However, there is some weakness. We do like to reject off 185, so it might retest 177 to 180, consolidate, and then we'll see if we bounce or not off that level. ARM is also trading sideways. We're going to see if we could hold 138 or if we break 144. We're kind of stuck in the middle, so we'll see if we end up retesting 142 or not, but overall, we're still kind of stuck. PayPal has resistance at 69.64, and we have support down here around 68. We might retest the 70 area. We're going to see if we reject or not. For Coinbase, we have a nice accumulation right here. If we break past 332, we're looking for a push higher, but if we lose essentially 318, we're looking for a dump to fill the gap. I anticipate a test of essentially 328 and then some sideways price action, so we'll see how that goes. For Amazon, we have a nice cup and handle. As long as we don't lose 227, we're going to likely consolidate. I could see an attempt to get to 235. It still looks more bullish to me. Meta is looking a bit more bullish. As long as we don't essentially lose 778, we could be continuing to consolidate. I anticipate 778, and we'll see if we bounce or not. So give this the time it needs, especially as time goes on. Google's on an uptrend. So long as we don't lose 202, we might retest 202, and we'll see if we bounce off this or not. And Microsoft is also favoring a push back up towards 528. So a lot of tech stocks are very flat right now. The VIX is on a downtrend. We need to get back above 16 for this to bounce more. So far, it's favoring a move back down to fill this gap around the low 14s. However, I would not think it's a bad idea to buy the VIX or go long on it at least a month or two out, because we do love to bounce near 13 to 14. Typically, it does bounce in this range. There could be some downside for it, but like I said before, be careful because the VIX does like to form bottoms. However, it does not confirm anything quite yet. The 10-year is still trying to push. The dollar is kind of flat, and so is crude. So that being said, what's my view of the markets? We're still looking bullish for the time being. There's no sign of us essentially getting a massive rejection yet. So keep that in mind. We still look more bullish. Tesla, however, is kind of flat here. It's showing weakness compared to the market, and we're struggling to get back above 347, which is why we keep projecting here. That could also be favoring a push and then a dip back down towards 329 or below. So could Tesla go a little higher? Yes, it could try to retest 340 and consolidate, but there is a risk of us retesting that 330 area. If that fails us, we could be dipping a lot more. So you want to be very careful just to be safe. So please keep that in mind. Tesla is still holding up decently, but there is a risk of some downside with all the negative news that's coming out. And it is what it is, but we'll see what ends up happening as time goes on. So don't worry, guys. I'm going to make this video a little bit shorter than usual, and I'll be back tomorrow before market open to give you guys another update. Until then, I just want to say I wish you guys nothing but the best. I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a good day, night, or evening wherever you guys are around the world. And I hope nothing but the best for everyone out there. The market is very, very tricky, so be careful with lots of manipulation. And there is quite a bit of data coming out tomorrow before market open with industrial manufacturing numbers. Until all that data comes out, just watch your trends very carefully, play the chart in front of you, and we're going to be very, very unbiased with our analysis and our details. Until then, until I see you guys again tomorrow, take care and peace out.